With there being so many questions around the transfer portal and recruiting news for the Oklahoma Sooners, we're just going to provide here a couple updates for you guys and let you know where the Sooners stand going into the second week of December. But before we do that, please go ahead, hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. Do you expect the Sooners to pretty much finish out this class strong and land the candidates that you think that they're going to land? So, under not any recent new news, the McCall brothers have been at Oklahoma this weekend on their visits, and this one's big because the older brother, Dasan McCall, who is currently at Indiana, had a tremendous season for the Hoosiers. And you've heard a lot of people relating him to the Isaiah Simmons of the world, but one of the big things about him is he could pretty much play any position, whether that's a receiver, edge, linebacker, cornerback, or a safety. And with his high frame and his defensive edge projection, this is a guy that I think you could plug and play in Venables' defense, and realistically, he will fit everywhere that you put him. And so this is exciting because we've seen the crystal balls fall in for these guys, and there's a lot of excitement, of like, when are they going to commit? I feel like we should start to see these two probably narrow down their decisions here in the next probably week or two. That's kind of what it's sounding like. But ultimately, as Dave McCall, who is the brother who was committed to Cincinnati or is still committed to Cincinnati, he has also been crystal balled to the University of Oklahoma. And I think he has a couple of crystal balls in for Indiana. So the big thing here, right, is, Oklahoma needs to be able to go in there and land both of these guys day through the recruiting class. And then, you're going to be able to go land Dasan in the transfer portal. That would really help kind of solidify the defense a little bit more. But another guy in the secondary that we've kind of been talking about is the 4-star cornerback from New Caney, 165-pound CJ Blocker. Now, over the past, I'd say probably about a month and a half, he has really started to pick up some steam on his recruiting trail. Getting offers from, Kansas State, Utah, Duke, Michigan State, TCU, Florida State, Kentucky. He decommitted from Utah, where he was originally committed, Colorado, Alabama, USC. And he recently took an official visit on December 9th to Kentucky and then took an official visit to USC this weekend. And you would expect the Oklahoma Legacy kid to end up at Oklahoma if he is given that chance and given that full opportunity. This is one that I don't expect Oklahoma to lose if they really end up winning the guy. He just competed in track and field, I wouldn't say extremely fast, but pretty fast kid. Put up some good numbers in 2021. He had 27 tackles, one fumble recovery, and one interception. This is a guy that, he's not going to start day one for the Sooners, but he could definitely be a good addition or a good rotational piece in the backfield there, especially as the Sooners kind of don't know what that cornerback and safety room is going to look like yet, outside of really just keeping Billy Bowman. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one just to kind of see where the Sooners land. I know a couple of you guys had questions about Khalib Hicks. Brandon Drum, basically has extended his insider information to just say, hey, there's no need to worry here. Oklahoma seems to be good on this front. I know some of you guys saw Hicks's tweet where he'd sent out the little emoji. It was like, and then, the ... I think if I remember correctly, I was hearing that the staff is expecting almost all 22 commits to sign on the 21st, which, if you think about getting all of them to sign on the 21st, that's huge, because even if they're in high school still and they've got to stay out their high school days, they can go ahead and start working on training plans that the Sooners can give them. So that's something that, if you guys don't know that, once they sign on the dotted line with Oklahoma or any school, that school can actually send them training plans or workout plans, how to diet, those kind of things, so they can be better prepared to come to school and actually have a chance to start. And so when you look at the kids that potentially could have that opportunity, whether it's Kaden Green or Jackson Arnold or Peyton Bowen or David Hicks, whoever Oklahoma could get, it's important for those guys to really take that to heart if they're not going to be on campus come January. Now, Kaden Green, he's going to get to be an early enrollee in campus. So we've talked about the offensive line, especially on the left side, with Wanya and Anton Harrison going to the transfer portal. And I think that's where you're going to be able to see Kaden Green potentially be able to come in and start, even though we have a Jacob Sexton and those guys back there. I think Kaden Green's got a lot of talent. And, if he really puts in the work during this off season, I'm excited to see what he's going to look like in the spring. And we could really see him probably take a starting role from some of those guys on the offensive line. So that's something for Sooner fans to really keep a lookout. Other than that, on the transfer portal news, it's not like we have been really just shaking it up a whole lot. I feel like you're going to start to see more players hit the transfer portal after the bowl games. You're probably going to see some of those Clemson guys do that as well. So that's something for everybody to really just kind of keep their eyes on, that it might not look super great right now, but it will kind of fill in, as the season continues to progress a little bit. There is one note that I will say is I feel like, we're hopeful on the David Hicks spectrum, but if we don't land David Hicks this offseason, I feel like we're going to be okay, just because I know that the staff's going to be bringing in some other defensive line guys through the recruiting trail, and then you're also going to have some transfer portal guys come in. And David Hicks is really talented, and I think he could start year one. But it's not the end-all, be-all. The only thing that I think David Hicks really does is he really helps solidify your recruiting class starting in 2024, where ideally Oklahoma could probably land anywhere between 6 to 8 interior defensive linemen. That's something that, I think we would want to see. But, I don't think it's going to inhibit us too much on that side. So, again, transfer portal news, I feel like you guys are going to start to see that ramp up a little bit more, probably at the beginning of January. There are a couple targets that I really want to see Oklahoma go after. One of those was a safety, a 4-star safety out of high school. His name was Derek Allen. He played at Georgia Tech, and he's having some pretty good seasons there. And, that Georgia Tech, especially towards the end of the season, they had a fight in them. They were hanging in games. They were winning games, or I think they'd won at least one or two. So that is one that I would like to see. I would like to see him in an Oklahoma uniform. I think he'd help provide a little bit more stability to the secondary there. Other than that, I know that there's Justin Flowe. I wouldn't be holding my breath there. I heard he is potentially taking a visit to Oklahoma, but not, like I said, we're not going to give our hopes up there, especially with, I know some of you guys have thrown out Tony Grimes from UNC. Again, I think that's another guy where I will offer him because he's talented. I just don't think that is a guy that Oklahoma is going to go land in the transfer portal. So ultimately, I think we're going to be fine. I still think we land in that 2 to 3 range on the recruiting trail, and I think we'll be probably a top 10 transfer portal class. And combined, you probably, if you did like a combined ranking between transfer portal and recruiting rankings, you could see Oklahoma in that number 1 spot. So here's the deal. Oklahoma could have a chance to land the 3 best players in the state of Texas through the transfer portal rankings. And that's really, I think, huge for Oklahoma, especially with how big Texas A&M and Texas are. You would expect them to really kind of hold that. And Texas does. When you go and you look at the top 10 players in the state of Texas, Texas has 1, 2, 3 of those right now, potentially 4, depending on the commitment of JV and Toviano. A&M currently has 3, but that would be expecting them to lose David Hicks. And Oklahoma currently holds Jackson Arnold. We all expect Peyton Bowen to flip. And if David Hicks flips, like I said, OU will own the top 3. And then Jaquez Petaway is right on the outside looking in at number 12. Honestly, Petaway could be a 5-star. I don't know what everybody's waiting on. And I expect Jackson Arnold to kind of move up a little bit as well, as he just got his 5th star through Rivals. So, again, not a whole lot of updates, but I did just want to go ahead and put an update out there for you guys of just kind of what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. I will say this: you guys have been seeing a lot of my Colorado videos lately. That's just because, when I talk to recruits and I talk to transfer portal players, hearing a lot of things, a lot of exciting news about that program. There's a lot of recruits out there in this 2023 class that are going to be potentially flipping to Colorado, especially for especially on National Signing Day and potentially early National Signing Day. It just depends on how quickly Dion can get it all together. So that's going to be some exciting news, a lot of content there that you guys are going to want to continue to watch. And then also, I will continue to cover my Sooners as much as I possibly can. On National Signing Day, we might or might not be doing a full day coverage, just a full day live stream coverage of that event with Jay and Chris and those guys. So stay tuned for that. I'm pretty sure we'll be announcing that soon. But other than that, go ahead and jump in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like these kind of videos? Let me know.